I've never felt more of a gym bro than I do now. I'm doing all sorts of exercises. Even today, I tried the chest press. That machine that resembles a bench press, but instead of that, it's a cable machine where you get to sit perfectly upright. God forbid you're lying back and, having a freaking heart attack if you lie back on a bench. So smart people have worked out you can just basically sit in a 90-degree chair at all times and do all of your body with all these fancy machines that they have. Everything is perfectly 90 degrees. I used to have all sorts of thoughts about all sorts of things. Like I mentioned the other day, why the hell would you want to do a lat pull down machine when you can do pull-ups? Why the hell would you want to do a chest press machine when you can do the bench press? Well, I did the chest press today. Like I did the lat pull down. And this is why I feel like a gym bro, because like in my mind, a gym bro is somebody that has just like, does everything in the gym, He doesn't have a specific, I don't know. I want to say plan, although gym bros can have a plan. What I'm really referring to is my past was super, super high specificity, super high, or super low variation of exercises. So I would basically, for the last 5 years, keep the exercise selection as low as possible and just hammer away. And now I find myself that I've got basically a 4-day split. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm doing a push-pull upper and lower. So push-pull upper, push-pull lower. And I'm just trying all these different exercises, man. Like I don't even know how many different exercises I've done in the last 4 days, but it's been a lot. I'm doing lots of different movements, lots of different ideas. And all of this made me think about one bloke. Last year, before I stopped going to the gym, so before the birth of my third child, maybe a few months before that, I was still going kind of infrequently. And I bumped into a guy. I met this African fella in the gym that another guy knew of, and I kind of, started chatting away, blah, 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 blah. This guy apparently has been training for 6 months. 6 months training, but his physical development, was basically the best in the gym. The best in the gym. 6 months of training. And the reason why I thought about him, now that I'm doing this gym bro setup and doing all these different variations and exercises, is because when I spoke to him and I said to him, looking at him, you're thinking he's an expert. He understands a lot about exercise science, exercise selection. He understands human movement. So I started chatting to him and I'm like, man, how the hell are you so jacked? And the thing is, he didn't have a lot of body fat on him either. So he was like this specimen of a dude. And when you watch him, like even before I started talking to him, he would go to the lat pull down machine, do a set, walk over to the other side of the gym, pick up those fixed dumbbells and do like a set of bicep curls. Then we'll go to another machine that's free over there and just do like this pulley MTS row machine. He will do that. And then he will do another exercise and then come back to the lat machine. And obviously in this time, somebody might jump on the machine and we just move on. Like he was just literally bounce around the gym like a freaking atom, just aimlessly bouncing around with no plan seemingly. So then I started, chatting to him and blah, blah, blah. And I said to him, man, like what's your background and stuff? He's like, no, I wasn't really fit 6 months ago. I started going to the gym and I'm like, so what do you do? He's like, nothing, man. I just come in here and I hang out here for about an hour and a half and I just continuously work and I go home. And, as I'm kind of talking to him in between sets, I'm doing squatting. He's like, oh, no, I couldn't do that. Like, I'm not strong at all. I can't do squats. So he wasn't doing your compounds, like your barbell movements, things that, maybe you and me would really, really rate highly. The squats, the deadlifts, the bench presses, the overhead presses, the rows, all that stuff. No, none of that stuff. He would literally just bounce around machines and not, oh, I'm doing lat pull down machine. So I'm going to sit here for the next 20 minutes doing my lat pull down machine. So do a set, wait, do a set, wait, do a set. Nah. The moment he finishes the set, he'll go over to a completely different, unrelated muscle group and he would just do that as well. And then do some bicep curls and then do the push down, tricep push down machine. We're just constantly just bouncing around. He basically mimics somebody that works out in the field or works out in the construction side. You're just constantly moving around doing odd jobs, right? Okay, now we're doing the wheelbarrow. We got to push the wheelbarrow for the next, 30, 40 seconds. And then after that, we're going to take all the crap out of the wheelbarrow, all the bricks, and, stack them nicely or whatever. Like, he's just constantly moving, doing different things. This guy had ripped shoulders, ripped lats, traps. He looked 10 times more impressive than me. Not that I'm a bodybuilder and not that concerns me, but I was just astounded that here is a guy with that type of physique and he doesn't even understand training. Or does he? Maybe I don't understand training. Maybe I have looked into this too much and I've completely lost my mind. This guy is simply working. He's working. His rest between his sets are like 30 seconds, constantly going. And as I was talking to him, he was like, backpedaling. He basically like indicating like, dude, I got to do my next set. And when I said to him, like, man, you look very, very impressive. He's like, nah. He was all humble and he's like, nah, man, I've got a lot to learn. Like, I'm thinking to myself, this guy must be thinking, like, he asked me how long you've been training. I'm like, 10 years. I mean, he's a nice guy. I don't even know his name. He's a nice guy, but he's probably thinking to himself, you've been training for 10 years, right? And he's looking at himself in the mirror, looking better than anybody else. Now, obviously, the elephant in the room, the pink elephant in the room, is genetics. Okay, some of these, Western African nations, they have some of the most athletic men who have never freaking seen the gym. They have some of the highest natural testosterone counts, purely just because that's who they are as a people. And when you look at the distribution, of testosterone levels around the world, you will find that these guys have the highest, on average, testosterone counts, and then somewhere in Asia and India, you have the lowest. So there's all these variations about all these different things, and life expectancy, just so interesting. I think the Asian country has the highest. Maybe I'm wrong about this, or maybe the Asian countries have the oldest human being. I remember reading this somewhere. Meaning that the lighter the person, the longer you will live. So these huge bodybuilders are not going to live very, very into old age, not because of the steroid abuse, which is a huge factor, but also simply because they're too big, man. Big things don't live long, at least in the human kingdom. Maybe whales and whatever live hundreds of years. I don't know about all of that stuff, but humans, generally speaking, you're not going to see a 7'5" guy weighing damn near 400 pounds, living up to 100 years old. In all my nursing career, I've rarely ever seen a 7-footer. I don't think I've ever seen a 7-footer in the 80s, ever. Whereas these small little people, 4'9", 4'8", man, it seems like every single time I see the other day I saw a 108-year-old lady living at home independently, still driving and all that stuff. I think she was still driving independently, cooking and cleaning and all that stuff. And she was this tiny little lady, and it kind of reinforced my ideas about old age. I say all of this to say that there's natural variations in the human genome and human population. And it just happens to be that West Africans have just naturally the best physiques. And so this dude in the gym, he's just walking around, fluffing around, and he's jacked out of his mind. So there's that story. And then the other story is like, well, maybe that he's, unknowingly doing the best training program. He's got no knowledge about the game, and he's self-proclaimed that to me. He's like, I don't know anything. I don't know how you squat. I don't know how to do any of that. But somehow he's fallen into this random act of random freaking training in the gym and just getting jacked. I'm a gym bro. And the way I classify gym bro in my mind is somebody that's not just freaking squatting and doing like 3 other exercises. That's the feeling that I've got. Like, this is not me talking seriously, but like I'm saying, I feel like a proper gym goer now, that I'm even sitting on a damn chest press machine, a machine that I've notoriously kind of shunned to the side, because why the hell would you do that? Interestingly enough, after doing the chest press, so I did 100 kilos wide. I'm doing wide bench at the moment, 100 kilos for 3 sets of 7. Then I went to 80 and did two sets of 15 there. Then I went to 60 and I did 1 set of 20. After that, I walked over and I did this chest press as I was waiting for the for that fancy shoulder side lateral raise machine, which I absolutely love. That was taken, so I was just kind of standing around. I'm like, well, here's the chest press. Let me just do this, and meanwhile, I'll just mess around. The pin was already at 40 kilos. I'm like, cool, let's do 40 kilos. I'm already fatigued with the pressing. And then I started doing sets of 20, and I did 5 sets of 20. And I'm like, well, this feels different. It feels different. Cables feel different to free weight. Why? I don't know. But there's like constant tension throughout. The physics are different. And so here I am pumping away, and I've got a really nice pump. And I'm like, yeah, this has a place. And that's when these thoughts started happening. I'm like, the damn chest press, the absolute noob of a machine has a place. Now, why would you do it? Well, just for a bit of variation. It's a slightly different kind of angle of pushing. It's not straight up or it's a bench press. It's almost like a slightly declining kind of feeling to it. But I found it interesting. And then I started thinking about that African fella in the gym. I'm like, yeah, so he would do a set here, walk over to some, whatever's free, he would just go and do that, shoulder press, and then maybe, do a bit of pull down and this pull down variation, maybe one-handed over here. Just pure freaking random. It's like the man has a, mental health disorder of not remembering what he did 2 seconds ago, like that kind of stuff. He's just running around. And after 90 minutes of this running around, working hard, he would just get his bag and walk out. No structure, no anything. He would just, go for 10 reps, 8 reps, and that's it. That's his training program. And I'm sitting back and I'm like, I remember the other fellas that were around me, who were into the powerlifting thing, linearly periodizing and block periodization, all this sort of stuff that they're doing to try and put on a few kilos on a deadlift in like a few months. They're doing all this sort of stuff to do that. And here is a guy who we all kind of agreed, man, if this guy ever decided to, do some sort of periodization, do some sort of planned strength training, are we looking at somebody that can break the state record here, maybe even the Australian record, purely because this guy's not even doing proper training and he's already the best in here? I don't know. Probably this whole conversation is about genetics, but it did raise an idea of, are we all just very, very wrong? We've all talked about that farmer strength, that old man strength. Well, how do these people get that? They don't get it by sitting there doing 3 sets of 10 of bricklaying. Nah, dude, it's a heavy job, and they're just constantly doing heavy shit. Pulling, pushing, lunging, climbing up a ladder, down, like it's always random. It's not, I'm just going to do some lat pulls down, just target this muscle, and then wait a few minutes and do it again. After 10, 15 minutes of that, I'll go do something else for the next 15 minutes, all in the same plane, everything else is resting. It's just, it makes you wonder. At least it makes me wonder. Obviously, there's science behind the things we do and what we are all about. But another thought that came into my mind was maybe what he's got going is just freaking variation. Louis Simmons tried to put a structure on his variation. Maybe this is just a manic variation with incredible results. His body literally has no idea what the hell is going on next. So he has to adapt and adapt well. Isn't that interesting? Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.